In medicine, we have chosen that there are two nervous systems. I'm sure that there are more, and I'm sure that the perspective on the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system is very limited, and through that, we are lacking an understanding of how the nervous system actually works. I'm pretty sure about that. But if we go into the conventional thinking about it, and I might lack a lot of knowledge, as in um, science that has come out to that and that I haven't read, I'm just going to speak about my perspective that might be limited, but it also might be interesting to continue to look upon for me and researching upon from the point of view that I see, feel, and observe in myself and others. So we have two, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Then we call it rest and digest, and we call it fight and flight. The fight and flight, the sympathetic, is supposed to be active during certain activities, and the parasympathetic, the rest and digest, is supposed to be more dominant throughout other activities like resting, sleeping, watching TV. I'm going for a walk, watching TV. That's strange. I've never watched TV, so I don't even know what that feels like. Going for walks, uh, having a good time with friends without physical activities, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then there are people that are supposed to be very much in the sympathetic tone, which also shows by them having very tight muscles, feeling tight in their joints, being hyper nonstop, having a hard time doing nothing, having a hard time falling asleep, maybe also eating faster without chewing that much. Then you have the other people that have a harder time getting into activities from zero. Thinking about doing adventure stuff is like, oh my gosh, I can't do that to myself. They prefer to read more, would not go for just like that, but are more like, oh, let's go for a bike ride, very slow and easy, take a lot of time while eating. So there are structures and ideas of how people function and what they do when they are like that and who they are when they are like that. Then there is a lot of thinking that goes into this is wrong and this is the right system. This is only the one that you should have sometimes. This is the one you should only have before you sleep. This is what you want to activate to get up out of bed. This is the one you want to activate before having food. Yeah, that's so flipping stressful. It's so flipping stressful because depending on who you are supposed to be, rather more this one or rather more that one, we are all both of it, of course. And we have both of them. Otherwise, we would be just in one or the other spectrum, and this is called disease. But you're constantly, if you're having a problem with something inside of you right now, let's say you have an injury and the doctors have told you that it's because you're too much in that tone or your muscles are too tight or whatever they say. Since this is more related to athletes and artists that also have a high tone of stress, I'm speaking more about the problems of these type of people in the population. But that creates a lot of stress because you're constantly, because of who you are and because how your work environment is tailored, as you have to work at certain times of the day that might not be the most beneficial for your nervous system and for your digestion and for your natural cycle. You have to continue to work independent if you want or not, because you need to have more money. As these jobs pay little, you have to make sure that you continue to work so you get a job that pays more. So the way the world is tailored, the world is made up, and the world is structured, these two populations, artists and athletes, have a harder time balancing out their nervous system. And then on top of everything, doctors tell them that something is wrong with them because they are too much in there and not enough there. And so all these techniques are being made up or do exist. They're not being made up. They exist so that they can find a balance. So the artist or the athlete is addicted to finding a balance in something that is hard to create a balance for, if the whole system within which the athlete or the artist operates is actually tailored in a way that the nervous system moves into the direction that the doctor is trying to get out of that person. You know what I mean? That's just creating another level of stress within that body and within that mind that is going to actually make the person feel out of balance. And then I have conversations with friends or with friends or with clients that are absolutely stressed and tell me they have to become more like that, or they have to be more like this, and they have to take better care, and they have to go to see another doctor to fix this and that. And they get into the spiral of addiction. They get into the spiral of addiction, trying to fix something that A, costs a lot of money, and B, can't be prescripted, because the person is not going to bed at 10, rather more at 2, because of reasons. Because the person is trying to, doesn't have time to rest because the person is trying to earn enough money, or getting better at the sport because he blah, blah, blah. What I want to say is there are reasons why you are not where you want to be, and they are not always referring to how bad you've done something or how you should be doing something. But the reason why I'm doing the thing with the breath is because the breath can help you to access one of these two systems a bit easier. If you understand when you can use simple breathing cues that help you to move from the parasympathetic into the sympathetic, and from the sympathetic into the parasympathetic, again, tailored to your system and aligned to your personality and aligned to what you usually do, you can stop fighting to become better and instead make sure you continue to understand yourself better so that you can use your tendency as a power whilst not moving out of your green zone health-wise due to an understanding of your breath that helps you to recognize when you're moving into the red zone. So I for example have a tendency to be able to think very fast, and if I am in an environment that has a lot of problems, or if I am in an environment that thinks in patterns that is toxic for the people that I'm surrounded by, I can start to think too much too fast. If I do that for too long whilst everyone is still behaving in a very toxic way, I can start to move into either or nervous system, rather too down, rather too up, and it makes me feel out of balance. How do I notice that? Because either my hands, feet, face, or breath are starting to feel dysfunctional. And then I know, okay, I need to start to go back into balance. Easiest way to do that is through my breathing and by understanding how the face can be opened up and relaxed, or by observing that when I think certain things, my feet are doing that, or by observing that when I think certain things, I'm losing power in my hands. Instead of reading books, people should read a bit more how the body reacts to certain patterns of thinking, to certain people that they surround themselves with, to certain patterns that they repeat, because you can read as much as you want from other people to understand yourself. But if you are brave enough to think, feel, observe, give silence to the sound within, and give power to the sound within, and give space to development, we won't move far. We will keep discussing. So the space of trusting the body within how you are by nature is really important.